Hi and welcome to the third session on using Reason for live sampling. Okay, so in the previous session I showed you how to set up Reason, optimizing it for your system, and we've looked at the instruments that you can use for live sampling and how you can alter them with effects and pitch shifting and etc. So in this one what I'm going to do is actually show you when you're writing your music with your live samples, how to actually go about and do that in Reason. So the first thing that you want to do, if you haven't done already, is you come up to the top here and click Window and detach the sequencer window. Just makes it so much easier when you're going between this is your workspace where your music is going to be written, and back on the rack here is all your instruments. So the first thing we're going to do is I've got all the samples over here in the tool window that I've created before, and we're going to create a little section, a little sample in our sequencer window here. So if I come across to your sequencer section, now to stop and play and record, just all the way down the bottom here we've got our little transport bar. So this is how we stop, play and record down here. You've also got your click track, so you can play your two. Oh, I'll just get rid of those since I've already had them from an earlier session. Let's just undo these guys. We don't want them playing just yet. Right, that makes things easier. Let's try that again. So you can hear the click track. You can adjust the level of it and get rid of it. Okay. Now this is your little play cursor. You've also got your left and right markers. So if you want to loop a certain section, you can just drag those along and it'll loop in that section. If you just come down the bottom right here, you just click on have loop on and off and it'll loop for you. Okay, now to record, let's go. I'll just move these out the way, in fact, because I don't want them to loop. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use, let's see what sounds do I have in the con.
No, yes, 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 no, yes, no.
Okay, let's just start off with something pretty simple with yes and
Yes,
no.
no.
So I'll put the click on, give myself a pre-count. I'm going to hit record and just record something. Here we go.
Yes, 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 no, no. Yes, 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 no, no.
Now you can hear that my no sample is a little bit behind. It's the way that I recorded it, so it won't be as tight, but at least I can just show it now for demo purposes. Now to edit the samples, you just double click on the brick you've created and it will show you your samples. Now it's got my velocity here, so I'm just going to move that tool window and you just bring the arrow up here and it shows you here the little sections that I had. So I've got my little bricks here. I can adjust the velocity of them. So I'm going to just crank those up a bit. Okay, and the way I did that, in case you didn't see, was using the pencil tool. You've also got an eraser tool, so if I don't like one, I can just double click and get rid of it. Just undo that because I like that there. You can use a little splice tool, which I can actually chop up the little brick that I created in the other mode. So I'm in edit mode at the moment. As you can see, it's highlighted. So I'll click out of that and it comes back to my brick, and I could chop up sections of it. So I'll undo that. So I'll come back in here, click back on my arrow, double click, and I can shift and move these. At the moment they're snapped to the grid, and the way you check up here it says snap. So I can uncheck that and slide it where I want. I might actually just slide a little bit before the beat, just so I can get hitting on time. So let's have a listen to that. Just stop.
Yes, 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 no, no. Yes, 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 no, no.
Okay, it's not bad, but I'll run with that for now. Okay, get out of edit mode at the top here, and I'll record something else. So let's go to the NNXT. Okay, so I've got my rim shot with my guitar string. So I'm going to record just something pretty basic over there. I'm actually going to lengthen this yes, yes, no, no. So click on that. You can just Control C and Control V like you would on most programs. So I'll do that a few times. Just Control V, and let's try something on the keyboard. Here we go.
yes, yes, no, no. Yes, 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 no, no. Yes, 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 no, no. Yes, 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 no, no.
Stop that there. So you can hear that the yeses and nos are a lot louder in the Kong. So I'm going to come back now to my mixer, the top here, and turn them down. So they're on my Kongs. I'm going to turn them down. I could turn the master level down. That's probably why it's so loud. And let's have a listen now.
Yes, yes, no, no. Yes, yes, no, no.
Just turn the click off so you can hear what it sounds like.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now what I can do is I can actually, if it's not tight, if what I have played isn't locked in tight, you can actually quantize the notes. In other words, lock them into time. And the way that you do that is you come up to edit and you go quantize notes. Now what it'll do when you do that is it'll quantize it to whatever you've got up here. So I want it to quantize to 1/8 notes. So I'm going to go edit, quantize notes, and it'll lock them all in time. And you can see once I've zoomed in, they're all sitting perfectly in the line. I don't think I was that perfect in my playing. So I click edit mode. I'm going to copy and paste this as well. So at the moment I have this.
Yes, 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 no, no. Yes, 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 no, no.
Okay, cool. Right, let's go back to our instrument window here. So I've used the NNXT. I've used the Kong. Now I'm going to use the redrum. So I have 1. Oh, that's quite loud. Yeah, you can see it's cranked up here, so I'll just turn that down.
1, 2, 3.
Oops.
4.
Okay, now there's a couple of ways of doing it. The easiest way to do it is if I click run, actually I don't even need to click run, I can just go back to the start. If I click play,
Yes, yes.
it'll just play the section. And you can see that run is automatically highlighted. So what I can do is just start putting in the box.
Yes, 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 no, 1. Yes, 1. Yes, yes, no, 1.
Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here. I'm going to set up a loop. So I'll just show you how to do that. The way you do your loop section. Oh, I think that was in the wrong spot. That needs to go there. Yes. Believe. Just seeing if I've looped it properly. It doesn't look like I've looped it properly. That's okay. We're just playing around here anyway, so we'll just leave it how it was. Anyway, so grab the left locator, stick it at the front. And I'll put the loop there because I know that loop's right. And I'll go back to quarter. Okay, and just make sure loop's on down here as well. Loop, just so I can work out what I want to do. So this is the best way to do it that I feel. So you just come back to your instrument window, click play on your transport bar here, and I can add bits and pieces in. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make the section longer. So I'm going to go 32. And give you more chance to put a longer pattern. So here we go.
1.
Oops, I'll start the play.
Yes, no, no.
Go back to the start. Here we go.
Yes, 1. Yes, yes, no, no. Yes, 1. Yes, yes, no, no. 1, 2. Yes, 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 no.
Okay.
1, 2. Yes.
This will be the second half. By clicking up here, we can go to the second batch.
No, no. Yes, 1. Yes, 2. Yes, no, 3. 4. 1, 2. 3. Yes, 4. Yes, no, 1.
Okay. So once again, pretty basic. But if I say, great, I like that pattern. Now, the way that you actually copy that pattern is I could just leave it in here by playing and listening to it, but it's just going to stay in there. And you may have lots of different patterns and you sort of forget, which one's which, and if you haven't worked out how to have them all just running automatically. So what you do is make sure you've selected redrum here. You just come to this window here, I'll click on redrum down here, and if I want it to just play for this section here, so you come back to your instrument window and go edit and come down to copy pattern to track. So once I click that, if I come back over now, you can see it's copied it in. Just make sure once you've done that, that you come back to your instrument window and there's an enable pattern section, you click that off. Otherwise it'll duplicate everything and everything will just get twice as loud as what it was originally and what it's meant to be. So that's there now, and I'll just play it to you so you can hear it.
Yes. Yes. 2. Yes. No. 3. 4. Yes. 1.
Okay. Now you can control, I can mute here as well if I want to stop that playing. Now, what you can also do here is you can see this thing up here called lanes. So I can, instead of adding another redrum, if I want to add another layer of samples and I don't want to go around and edit here, or you've created it and maybe you've gotten rid of these samples, so like I'm going to do now, I've gotten rid of them, and you may have forgotten your pattern, then what you can do is I'll click on redrum, I'll create another lane, and it's given me another little section I can record in. So if I come back to live sampling, and I will create something here, so I'll enable the pattern section, and I'm going to put, actually I'm going to change the dynamic, I'm going to make it go. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
All right.
1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm going to make that a 16 bar pattern or 16 step pattern too, because I don't want that to be longer than that. And then what I can do is, so if I go now edit copy to pattern to track and come across, you can see now it's put it in this second lane. And then that way too, if you've got complex rhythms and you want to have certain sections playing and for certain areas of your song, you can separate them and mute them as per se. So if I solo the redrum and hit play.
1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3,
Well, actually, what I didn't do, which I told you to do before, was unclick the enable pattern section. Let's try that again.
1, 2, 3.
So that's what I just recorded. Mute that.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 3.
And unsolo.
1, 2, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, 1.
Okay, now obviously just using spoken word does get a little bit messy like that, but just to show you how you can actually use these instruments here. Now, as I said before, if you want to create effects and make them sound a little bit more interesting, you can obviously do that. You just click on the instrument, come up to create, and add your effect, and off you go and start tweaking with it. Okay, so that's how to play and edit your samples in Reason 5 for your live sampling mix. So you can adjust your levels here through your mixer, and once you've got your mix here and you want to export or make a copy of your song, all you simply do is move your left and right locators to the song. So I'm going to play this much of the song. Go File, Export Loop as audio file. Now, export song, you can do that option, but what you need to do is you need to come up to your window here. I'll just get rid of that tool window, and you need to come all the way across, and you can see E here for end. Now, the way to do that is you need to drag the E all the way there, and then you can go export song as audio file. But quite often I'm doing little mixes of things and I don't want to have to keep moving that. I just let that go as long as it needs to. So I end up just using the option of exporting the loop as audio file. So File, Export Loop as audio file. Just save it to my desktop. So live sampling demo session. Save it as an AIF file or a WAV file, and they're interchangeable through both Mac and PC. Now you can change them into MP3s in other programs as well. Like for example, you could import it into iTunes and then export it, and that will save it as an MP3 like file. So click Save. I'm going to keep it like that. Click Export, and it'll be done and it's already done. So I'll go to my desktop just to make sure it's there. Desktop. Live sampling demo session, click play.
Yes, yes, yes.
And there it is. And there's your new audio samples to use for whatever you're using them for. Okay, so that is how to use Reason for your sampling in your mixing session. So in the last session, I'm actually going to show you a full session that I had set up and started tweaking with, so you can sort of see a scope of what you can actually do with it. So I hope you enjoyed this session, and one more to go.